the strife. When the locals start to drinking and the glasses start to tinkling, you'll be lucky if you get out with your life.
My name is Bone Doggie, and I am the lead singer for Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers from Denton, Texas, proper.
Let's talk about them a little bit. Let's just what kind of
Hellraisers?
music? Let's talk about what kind of music is it? What genre is it?
And that's a fascinating question. It's one we have to answer all the time. It's probably the most difficult question we're ever asked. We call it, our working genre is basically Gypsy Americana. The Gypsy part, I guess, comes from, I play an Irish bouzouki. I've got a heavy metal guitar player. I've got a jazz bass player. I have a rock and roll drummer and a big band trombone player. So you take all that and mix mash it up, and I like the gypsy swing. I like the Gorgo Bordello type stuff. My roots, prog rock to Led Zeppelin, that type of thing. So it's really a conglomerate of everybody's style. So it's actually a little bit difficult to pin down. But I guess Gypsy Americana is, one, you can pronounce it, and two, you know, it covers so much ground that you really don't have to explain anything accurately. So
Awesome, and the style, like what you're wearing today. This is the style.
We dress, and oddly enough, I'm color coordinated with your couch. But it was decided early on. I have always dressed. I was taught by an old blues man. If you're up there on stage playing in front of people, they're giving you their money. You need to look good. You need to look sharp. Well, when the Hellraisers finally come together as the outfit that they are now, it just kind of happened that red and black became the colors, you know, and so we make the effort. We dress up. It's part of the show, you know, and we give you something to look at as well as, you know, something to listen to and something to, you know, tap your foot to.
So there is there are you on Reverb Nation?
We Reverb Nation, Bone Doggie and Hickory Street Hellraisers.
Okay.
There's a Facebook Bone Doggie page, you know, and you can find our gigs there. You can find some pictures, a lot of pictures and stuff like that. You kind of an idea. There's a little bit of an evolution on Reverb Nation, some old pictures as well as some new ones. So.
Cool. And how long y'all been doing this?
Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers have been together essentially since 2003, 2004. The current lineup has been together since 2008, with one exception. We have a new bass player, and I say new, he's been with us for 7 months now.
Oh, wow.
But the same basic lineup has been together since 2008. We have on lead guitar, Chris Ghost Moorhead. On the drums, we have Chris El Chupacabra Cordell, I call him the dude. On bass, we have Greg Thumper Beach. And on trombone, slide trombone, we have the Duchess, Abby Messerly.
Awesome.
And everybody has their nicknames. Bone Doggie gives you a nickname when you join the band, or if you join the band. And even the guys that are stand-in Hellraisers. And there's actually quite a group of people that will come and jam with us, and you know, alumni. Every one of those guys has a nickname as well.
Awesome.
So that's just a band thing. You play with the Hellraisers 4 times, you're an honorary Hellraiser, and you get a nickname.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you personally been playing music?
I started actually playing music for real in 10th grade in high school. I had dabbled with it a little bit. I think 3rd grade was my first real introduction to music. You know, I grew up in not a musical family, but a family that was aware of music. We always had a record player. Mom and Dad had a big stereo. My cousin lived up the street. He had a set of drums, you know. So I grew up in that part with Elvis and Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, The Ventures, and all of that, you know. And Mom always played the radio in the morning. Well, I got my first AM/FM radio in 1969. Yes, 1969. There's probably a war going on back then, but I can't remember. But I got an AM/FM transistor radio, and that's when I actually heard The Who. Tommy was out at the time, and that was what really got me interested in. I'm thinking, well, wow, I have a tennis racket, I can do the air guitar. And then a girl across the street looked at me and said, well, why don't you learn just how to play? And it never dawned on me before. So at about 11 years old, I got interested and I wanted to learn how to play. My cousin had a set of drums. And so I dabbled with that. Well, when I got in high school in the 10th grade, I actually took intermediate music. And there was me in the class, one person in the class. So what I would do is I would go in, it was 7th period, last period of the day, and I would take all the drums, this was the marching band room and all of it, the trap set, all of it. I would take all those drums and set them up in a practice room and wail for an hour before I went home to school. So I did that for a long time. I finally got my own drum set. And I played drums up until I was about 21 years old. And then my brother had a bass, and we swapped. He wanted to play trap set, and I wanted to play bass. So when I was 21, we swapped, and I played bass for over 20 years.
Wow.
I just stuck with it. I loved it. It's the greatest instrument ever. I also became an immediate prog rocker. One of my first albums, in fact, I will tell you, the first album I ever had was In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
That's a great
It was
album.
a great album, mostly because of the drums, right, at the time, that drum solo and all that, but that's 17 minutes worth of music, and when I got a hold of the bass, my mother, God bless her again, she's kind of been my angel through all of this. Mom bought me Yes songs, a triple album, Yes live album, and that was about the time that I got the bass, and this guy over here is just shaking his head going, oh, we know, we're walking down memory lane together. But I got Yes songs, Deep Purple's Made in Japan, and a 4-album set called Super Hits of the 70s. And I had that bass, and I learned how to play every bit of it. Just sit down with my little record player in my little room and just play along with it, and I got a hold of Jethro Tull and stuff like that. So it was about 22, I actually started playing in bands. I had dabbled a little bit with the drums, but it was about 22 years old I actually started playing bass. And I did that all the way up until about 2001. And long story short, New Year's Eve, comfortably numb, pain threshold, blew a 15-inch Galen Kruger, decided I really wanted to do something else. and so I go down to Irish Fest in Fair Park, and I walk into one of the pavilions. There's a big sign at the end of it that says Bazookies. Now, I'd heard about a bazooki about 3 weeks before that from my brother. And so I just shot down there, left the family standing, shot down there, and I picked up an Irish bazooki for the first time. And I looked at it, and I looked at the guy's name's Bill Peterson. He's still there every year. How's it tuned? It was GDAE, so it's basically upside down from the bass. But I plunked around on it, and I liked the sound. Family shows up. I put it down and fidgeted for about 30 minutes. So finally, and we lucky enough we were able to do it, my wife just looked at me and said, oh, go buy the damn thing. So I shot right back, and I picked up Bob, and I bought Bob, and I took Bob home. And I have been playing Bob since 2001. And if you look at it closely, I thought about bringing it on.
You should have. That would have been awesome.
If you look at Bob closely, you can tell he's been playing since 2001. That poor thing has been beat to death. But it's a Bill Peterson, WilliamPetersonStrings.com. Bill makes good instruments. He does. And I've just been playing it ever since. I love it.
It's awesome.
So that's basically my musical history. In 2002, when I got the bazooki, I of course went to traditional Irish music, and then that took me to the Appalachians, and then from the Appalachians to Delta Blues. And this was a musical journey that I just wanted to go on. I got into roots music and I got into world music at the same time, and it just started to develop it. Put together a couple of folk bands with my brother and my son, And then me and my son actually formed the first Hickory Street Hellraisers. And that was a little bit after Bone Doggie came to light. Bone Doggie came to light at an open mic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've got to say that was one of the most frightening things I've ever done in my life. I went from being a bass player to a singer, playing an Irish bouzouki, and that was being thrown to the wolves, I guess is what you call it. But I've been doing it ever since, and I dearly love it.
So, you got your name. So let's talk about how did you get your name?
It's a ridiculous story, you know.
Yeah, man, this is your profile. It's all about you, brother.
When I was deciding to go solo, and I'm not a singer. My younger brother Brian has got the pipes in the family. Beautiful singer. I could growl. Okay, and I learned as I was going from, I'll see, like to left Ireland to the Appalachian Mountains to Mississippi Delta. You could play blues on an Irish bouzouki if you drop that high E. That's a Celtic tuning, but it's also a drop D tuning. Excuse me. So I was playing the blues, and I got into Robert Johnson. I got into Bill Carter. I got into some of the really early Willie Brown, Honey Boy Edwards. You know, some of the really early recordings of the Delta Blues. And the farther back you go, of course, it goes like this. The choices you have gets a lot smaller, you know. And I got really into the Delta Blues, but my real Christian name, which we're not going to give you here, you're going to have to look for it on Facebook. That's your job, kids. My cats and kittens is to go on Facebook and find Bone Doggie's real name, and if you get it, you get a cookie. It did not. It's a very Irish name. And so it did not lend itself to the Delta Blues. And so I needed a name, a nickname. And I'm mowing my front yard, and I've got two dogs. I've got a Border Collie, German Shepherd, and a Dalmatian. And I'm just thinking, I'm writing a song as I'm mowing my front yard. I'm a bone doggy. Gotta dig it up, gotta dig that bone. I'm a bone doggy. Gotta dig it up. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. So I go to the open mic on that coming Thursday, and where you write your little name in there, I wrote Bone Doggie. Was promptly introduced as Bone Daddy for the next 3 or 4 weeks until I finally slapped the guy and said, no, it's Bone Doggie. And it just stuck. It took and it stuck.
That is
and
awesome.
So, yeah, so that's where Bone Doggie came from. That's where the name comes. It was a need to not be quite so Irish and a need to be able to channel old dead black men. So that's where it comes from. Necessity being the mother of invention.
That is awesome. All right, well, let's also talk about what you're into. What are you doing for Denton? What is you have a lot of stuff going on to try to get this Denton music, this local music scene seen. So
I do. I'm very, very busy with it. I have, well, of course, I've got my band. We've got DentonRadio.com, the radio station. That was actually a brainchild of a friend of mine, Jake Laughlin, who's the president and CEO. We were actually in my studio, in my office, and he asked me, you know, what would you think about doing an online radio station that played all Denton music? And everybody had laughed at Jake before that. They just thought, no, you're not serious. Jake is a youngin'. He's like 22 years old at the time, right? And I just looked at him and said, it's a brilliant idea. You know, what do we need to do? And so we looked at actually becoming an FM station. That was bloody impossible. We didn't have the money. You've got to build yourself a good, you know, $20 million tower and an FCC license, which is, you know, paperwork stacked that high. So that was not possible. But the internet, you can do it the next day. You guys here, you're on the internet. We're all on the internet at this time. So what we did is we put the word out, and we found a player, and basically we got some bands, got some recordings from the bands, uploaded them, and stuck them on the player. It was a little one-page website, no frills. It had a graphic, and that was about it. And then we've been very fortunate. We had our I believe it was our 2-year anniversary in March or April. And now we have a full-blown website. The bands that are on there, we have over 60 musicians and bands on DentonRadio.com, including some very heavy hitters. Guys that Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers grew up with, like Soul Tax, 1140, Levi Cobb and the Big Smoke, Brave Combo is on there, Sonar Lights, you just go on and on and on for days, not to mention Caleb Coonrod, Matt Grigsby. These are people that have all been playing music in Denton for years. Well, the consensus was from everybody is, yeah, we're out there, we're doing open mics, but nobody knows about us. You know, how does anybody hear about us? So that was the idea behind the radio station. So basically we started gathering these guys up and we started putting them on the radio station. Well, the next thing you know, we had backing of Banter. And at that time I was doing the open mic at Banter. I had done that for 8 years. So we were taking those guys and we were putting them in Banter on Friday and Saturday night. Banter was there from the beginning. It's a little coffee, beer, and wine shop. No frills. You know, they've got a nice little stage, nice little sound system. You go in here, you do your thing, and these guys would just go in and start doing their own gigs and booking their own gigs and stuff like that. Well, as that was going on, Denton Radio started to grow and grow. The website got better and better. And then, from heaven, the Chamber of Commerce they paid attention to what we were doing. We got their attention from the Chamber of Commerce and the Visitor Center Bureau. They had tried Denton Radio before and it failed miserably. And then all of a sudden they find these two idiots that are doing it already. You know, and so we hooked up a relationship with them, and that relationship has been golden. We're tied up with the Chamber of Commerce, we're tied up with the Visitor Bureau. The City Council pays attention to us. The County Commissioner tolerates us. As long as we behave ourselves, they're good. But what the thing is they like the idea of us backing local bands, and it's not only bands, it's local business, the local venues, you know, backing Denton.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're doing, is we're trying to build Denton. So the radio station takes care of a lot of that. There are other very exciting things in the works right now. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it right now because it's not solidified, but I will tell you later. It's going to blow you away. Anyway, also, you know, I do 2 open mics in Denton. One at 2 Charlie's over there off Sunset that runs parallel with the University. That's a new one. That's more of a singer-songwriter type. And then Abbey Underground, I took over and created an open mic over there on Sunday night. And we actually have everything from singer-songwriters to bands. It's a bigger stage, bigger sound system and all that, so we can accommodate. And through those 2 venues, not only do I give these guys an opportunity to get up on stage to audition, but also to sharpen your sword, so to say. You know, and the club owners, DR, over there at Abbey Underground, he will come down and watch these guys. And he'll say, okay, I like you. The bartenders will say, I like these guys. 2 weeks later, they're in there. You know, so it gets them exposure, and it gives them an opportunity to get themselves out, to work on their shows, work on their sets, you know, work on their bands. They also network like crazy. You know, they break up, they form other bands, they form production companies. You know, they you know, go out and eat pizza and tear the place up. It's all kinds of stuff going on there. So that's basically with the radio. I know this is very long-winded. There's a lot going on.
It's all right.
But yeah, radio, open mics, through Denton Radio, through the Chamber and all of that, we do big shows. And we're going to do 3 or 4 big shows a year. The first one we did in March. It was close to our 1st anniversary. And we booked 44 acts from Thursday through Sunday. And everybody was on there. Not everybody got to play, including Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers. We got rained out.
Oh, wow.
We got rained out, Mockingbird Station got rained out, and Levi Cobb and the Big Smoke got rained out. Luckily enough, DR over at Abbey Underground has started DentonRadio.com night, first Thursday of every month. And in August, the show that did not happen is going to happen. 1140, Mockingbird Station, Levi Cobb and the Big Smoke, and Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers.
Cool.
And those shows are Denton Radio bands. I put them on there as well. And I've also got a residency at Andy's. I am busy, aren't I? Good
You
Lord.
are busy.
No wonder
You're very hard to get a hold of, man.
Man, when you tell somebody else all this crap, you go, oh my gosh. No wonder. My wife looks at me and goes, who are you? So, yeah, we are busy.
But it's awesome because, really, to tell you the truth, you know, us as DFW Undercover and you as what you do, we finally met somebody we're equal to about the passion of local music.
Exactly. And local music, there's a flavor to it, is there not?
Yes.
You know, and I don't know about Dallas. I don't know about Fort Worth. I don't know about the other cities. They may have something like that, but nowhere has it like Denton.
Yeah.
Denton, you have, you know, up north. Are you from up north at all?
No, I'm from Texas.
Okay, you're from Texas. Well, I'm from the Midwest. You have baseball towns. Up north of that, you have hockey towns. Denton is a music town. It's the same concept. It's the same concept. Everybody does it. You can't throw a stone in Denton without hitting at least one musician.
That's true because everywhere I've traveled, if I tell them where I live in Louisville, they were like, "What county?" And I said, "That's Denton County." And everybody's, "Oh, Denton's got a lot of music." And I said, "Oh, you have no idea."
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, I don't think we've scratched the surface. You know, through all of it. But the thing is, I love it. I love all of the Denton music, every kind, from the even the rap. Okay.
Did you see that? That was awesome.
Yeah, even I've got some good rappers, but yeah, I mean every kind of music, every kind of musician, and you have brilliant geniuses, and you have guys that just get up there and do it because they like doing it.
Yeah.
You have people that are incredible and people that just stone suck.
Well,
but they all do it, you know.
You got fantastic singer-songwriters. I have just met him on Facebook, talked to him, like there's a guy named Dalton Kane.
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing songwriter, great, you know,
Yep.
guitarist, singer. Hopefully gonna do something with him down the road. But I mean, there's quite a few that I've just noticed, and I got a lot of those off of Denton Radio.
Yeah, you will. You know, I could rattle off 5 or 10 names. And we do, what I love too is men and women. You know, and some of these women songwriters are just incredible. They've got beautiful voices. You know, they put together bands. They go out, they gig. You know, the guys, some of them, they tend to form rock and roll bands. You know, if they land somebody. But we've got a couple hardcore crooners. Matt Grigsby is very country flavored, very John Prine type. Caleb Coonrod, good Irish boy, Caleb. Excellent singer-songwriter. A little bit more of a rocky type thing. Ellie Morris, very country. Brilliant country singer. Karina Michaela, jazzer.
Cool.
You know, Karina's actually been one of the longest that's been on. Zach Balch, there's another one, excellent mainstream pop rock type writer, you know, indie, I guess is what you would call him. And then at the same time, we've got a trio, Sonar Lights, one of the first bands to ever sign up on DentonRadio.com, just got back from China.
Wow.
This week. Of course, you know, Brave Combo joined up with us, you know, because Carl's a big purveyor of Denton music as well, you know, and those guys, they come and they show the kids how it's done, you know. But we've got a Star Party, plays down at House of Blues all the time. My boys Nerd Face, they just played down at House of Blues, you know. But Denton music is just going boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And I'm right in the middle of it with both feet. So you guys, you know, that's what we're trying to do. You know, that's what we need to be.
We're working on it, man.
Somebody needs to promote these kids. Yeah. You know, guys like us that have been playing for 1,000 years, we can look at a 20-year-old and say, don't do that, or do more of this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to look at you and go, that crazy old man mean that? Okay, we'll try it, and it works.
Of course.
You know? You know, 'cause my watchwords, I'm from Missouri. Show me. And if they have the same thing, I met up with one bunch a couple weeks ago. Met them, booked them, watched them play, set them down at a table, and critiqued them. And about half of the band was like, "Who is this guy?" Until I finally looked at it and said, "Dude, I've been doing this for 30 years. I booked this gig. Look around you. Listen to what I got to say." Well, now they're playing all over town, so something. I guess somebody listened. I don't know. And I don't have all of the answers. I can't tell you how to become a rock star or anything like that. In fact, that's the farthest thing from my mind. I can tell you how to be a musician, and I can tell you what to expect to be a musician. So.
Well, that's 30 years of experience. Somebody better listen. Some of these young bucks need to listen to something.
Absolutely. Well, when you go to a concert and you see somebody that's brand new, right? They're great. You love them. But then you go to a concert and you see somebody like Jethro Tull that's been playing for 30 years. There's a difference. There's a marked difference. These guys have been doing this. They know all the ins and outs, but their playing is the quality of that music. It's just incredible. So, if I run across somebody, and I have had the privilege of meeting musicians twice my age, if you can believe that anybody twice my age is still alive, I had the privilege of playing with Honey Boy Edwards a couple years ago. 93 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and that old man taught me a couple things. First of all, he taught me that he will play an 11-bar blues, a 12-bar blues, and a 15-bar blues on the same song. Honey Boy had no time signature. You just kind of followed him. Is what you did, And so you position yourself to where you can see his left hand. But I still learn, and I learn a lot from the youngins.
Of course.
I learn a lot from the guys. Stuff that I haven't thought about for 20 years, and they're doing it. I'm going, oh, that's right. Idiot.
But what's awesome about you and you being a musician, like we were talking earlier, you learned it from a blues guy. Style is a lot to do with stage presence and with your performance and music. If you want people to take you seriously, you need to look good while you're playing serious music.
Exactly. If I'm walking into a club and I see Bill up on that stage, entertain me. I'm giving you my money.
Exactly.
And the thing is, if I walk in and you're dressed, you look like you know what you're doing, even before you started, I'm looking at you and you're wearing clothes and the stage is set up and I'm looking at the equipment and all of that stuff and I thought, okay, this is great. And when you start up, you do it like you're up there on purpose. You have my full attention.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. That's what Bone Doggie and the Hickory Street Hellraisers have always done. We put on a show for you. We call it the circus. And it is kind of, and a lot of it has to do with the singer-songwriter, or not the singer-songwriter, the content of our music. Back to the Gypsy Americana thing, and this is a part of it. I'm not the type of singer-songwriter that writes about my feelings or something tragic that happened, or this, I broke up with this woman, or my dog died, or whatever. I like murder mysteries. I like short stories. I like to make up stories. So very little that you hear during the course of a Bone Doggie and Hickory Street Hellraisers show is actually a real event, with the exception of one song where we kill off Mata Hari, Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, and John Dillinger. Yeah. So, I can guarantee you the first 5 songs, at least 4 people are going to die.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And my trombone player, Abby, used to yell at me, well, how come you always kill off the women? Well, it's more romantic. Nobody cares if a guy dies, but if you kill off a woman, that's a song. She just kind of looked at me sideways, and then I bought her a drink, and she was okay.
You know what I really like about Denton music, the local music, it goes from underground metal, which y'all have some.
Yes, we
quite
do.
a few underground.
Yes, we do.
All the way up to just crazy, weird stuff, man.
I know.
Genre that they're making their own.
Yes. A lot of experimenting that
Yeah.
goes on. There's a lot of electronica that goes on. And I've never been able to keep track of all the genres of music there is. But yeah, you've got metal bands, You've got guys that experiment and just, I've had guys come up with household appliances. Used to have a woman that showed up at open mic with a metal bowl, and that was her drum. And
Wow.
It sounded cool. And she would do poetry while she beat on this bowl. That was her act.
That's awesome.
And it was great, and she put a lot of work into it, and so yes, the variety is incredible. And there's past music. This week we're playing with Freak Show. For my birthday bash in July, we are doing our third gig with a burlesque show.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I love those guys. My dear friends run that burlesque troupe, Whiskey Tongue Burlesque. Tipsy Cups. I've known her and her husband, Josh Sinai, who is the lead singer for the Deadpan Poets. I've known those guys for years. In fact, Josh and I started out at the same open mic at Banter years ago. And about 3 times a year, Whiskey Tongue comes out and does a Bone Doggie gig. So we have Burlesque and the Hellraisers, and it's just a fun night. And the thing is, now I don't know about the burlesque, but by and large, and this is a very important thing, by and large, and this is a very, very important thing through all of this mess. 2 criteria. It's got to be original or near as. And my mama needs to be able to listen to it.
Yeah.
I have and will maintain a very strict PG-13 rule. That is another rule for getting up on stage. You get up on stage and you insult your audience by cursing at them or talking crap to them. You're going to lose them immediately.
Might as well cut your ties now.
Might as well.
Well, brother, we really appreciate you coming by and chilling with DFW Undercover, and
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
we enjoy this interview.
We will reciprocate. We'll drag your fanny up to Denton and do an interview with you.
Awesome.
I have a radio show, Doggy Time. It's
Awesome.
Doggy Time, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on dentonradio.com. Come by and we'll yak.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Good night.
Your pajamas, they walking down a runway full of bling. And the soldiers and the sailors in their government regalia trying hard to find a song they all can sing. Then the bodies start to flying through the air, and it's curtains